Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Andrea and I have been selling on Etsy for 8 years. This YouTube channel is just where we talk about how to run your Etsy business, strategies that you can use, best practices, and also I share day in the lives of me running my embroidery business on Etsy. So if that is what you're into, you are in the right place. Today specifically, we are going to be answering the question, what should Etsy shop owners do about post office delays? Okay, so we are knocking on busy season's door. At the time that this video will post, it should be October 25th, which means that we are not well into Q3, but we are making our way into Q4. I meant Q4. And we are knocking on busy season's door. If you have a similar busy season to me, November and December will be absolutely crazy for you. I've shared this on this channel before. We do roughly 70% of our revenue in the last quarter of the year. So we are gearing up for busy season, which means we are less than a week, I guess a month. We're less than a month away from people sending us 87,000 combos asking if their items will make it on time, if their package will make it on time for whatever holiday they celebrate. We are quickly nearing that time, which I know everyone is absolutely thrilled about. So I am going into my 8th season as a seller. So I have truly dealt with all kinds of customers, the ones that are so kind. Most of them are so kind. Most of my customers are amazing. And then I've also dealt with less than ideal customers as far as shipping delays. Just being 100% honest with you, not all my customers are amazing. Most of them are, but there are some as far as just like any other, in any other business, there are some that are not as ideal. So we have truly dealt with all kinds of customers, and I feel like I've developed a good strategy for both protecting myself and also putting the customer stress at ease. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. What should we do about post office delays and kind of how to navigate that as an Etsy seller? The very first thing that you want to do as a seller is be crystal clear in both your combos and your listing descriptions. Very soon on this channel, I think it's less than 2 weeks, we are talking about how to set a holiday deadline, a holiday order deadline. So basically a deadline is just where you say, if you order this by this date, we're gonna ship it by this date, which means you should have it by this date. We're gonna talk about how to do that, why to do that, all the steps that we take at Saltwater Prep in order to do that. But the long story short for this video specifically is that it is very important to have one, and it is also important to be very clear and upfront with your customer about your order date. So this looks something like this. A deadline looks something like this in a listing description. This is, I think I pulled this from our Sherpa listing last year. But basically it says, all Sherpa orders placed before December 4th will be shipped by December 12th via USPS first class mail. Barring post office delays, your package should arrive by the 25th. And that just gives them a lot of peace of mind. It is very straightforward. We're telling them the order deadline, when we will ship it, how we will ship it, and when they should have it by. And we use that same text in the combos. Again, that's the short version. We're gonna be diving into completely how to come up with that date and all that kind of stuff in about 2 weeks on this channel. But the first tip that I have for navigating post office delays is to be very, very, very straightforward with your customers in both listing descriptions and combos. The next tip is surrounding combos specifically. Do be very, very straightforward with your customers in combos. So this is after they have either ignored or they have decided they are way too worried about your shipping times that they are gonna combo you anyways, even though the listing description tells them what they're gonna say. And so whenever someone combos me, I am very, very straightforward. So every year USPS sets a holiday cutoff date, which basically just says like, if you mail your package by this date, it'll arrive by the 25th of December. And so I literally tell my customers that. If they say like, hey, I'm super nervous about this, I will say like, hey, all orders placed by December 4th will be shipped by this date. Looks like you placed yours December 2nd, so it might be shipping a little bit earlier. USPS is saying that their cutoff date for first class mail is the 15th, so barring delays, it should arrive in time. I literally say like USPS said, just so that they have all the information possible, and it kind of puts them at ease, and it also makes them feel very taken care of, that you are not trying to ignore their question or push it under the rug, but you are giving them all the information that you have. The next two tips I have are to be very, very straightforward with all of these tips start with be straightforward. It's honestly the best kind of customer service you can have is one where you're telling the truth and you are diligent in responding. But the next two tips I have are to be very, very straightforward about the fact that there is nothing that you can do, but you are doing everything. There's nothing you can do once you drop a package off, but you are doing everything in your control to ensure that they get it in the right amount of time. There is nothing you can do as an Etsy seller once you drop off your package at the post office. There's really nothing you can do about the fact that if they lose it or if it's going to get delayed. And your customers have to be able to understand that. But you also need to be doing everything in your control to make it to where they're getting there on time. If you need to be shipping packages like before your deadline. And I'm going to talk about a few more like tips later on in this video, but let them know that you're doing everything in your control, that you have control over in order for them to get their package on time. And the second thing is to let the customers know, or I guess the second tip I have of this little set of tips is to let customers know that they will receive an email with tracking information to the email that is associated with their Etsy account. I always let them know like, hey, when your order ships, you will automatically get an email to your Etsy account email containing your tracking information and a link for you to track your package. Let them know that because that just kind of puts them at ease, and also it kind of makes it to where they're not going to keep comboing you because they know they're going to get that email. The next three tips are less about how to communicate with your customer around post office delays and more about specific things that you can do in order to not prevent them, but in order to give your package the best odds possible for arriving on time and without delay. The first thing they can do is leave a lot of wiggle room. And so you'll notice that whenever we do when I post this video in 2 weeks about the deadlines, you'll notice that we leave a lot of wiggle room in our deadline. We make sure that really, like if they're saying December 17th, we're gonna ship everything by the 15th or the 14th, which gives it like 3 days wiggle room. We are trying to leave a lot of room around those deadlines just because that is something that we can literally do that makes it to where our packages are less likely to get delayed past, or if they do get delayed, our customers won't notice. So that is something that we do in our shop, is leave a lot of wiggle room, and that is definitely something that's very, very important for holiday deadlines. The next thing that you can literally do in order to prevent these deadlines is to bring your packages to the post office and print a scan form. So the first half of this tip, actually bringing your packages into the post office, is something that you can do. I like to do this more than setting them out on my doorstep for a few reasons. So I am a huge fan of the USPS pickup, but not during Christmas time for a number of reasons. One, I live in the Midwest, and so it gets windy. I don't want any packages to blow away. I know that sounds super elementary and worrisome and dumb, but I just don't like it. Two, it would be a logistical nightmare if packages got stolen off my doorstep. We live in a fine area. I don't expect that to ever happen, but I can't even tell you how big of a logistical nightmare it would be whenever we're having days where we're shipping out 70 orders. If a whole bin of items got stolen off my doorstep, it would truly be a logistical nightmare. And so that alone is enough for me to justify going in and seeing myself hand them to the guy. And the third and probably most important reason why this affects your ship by date is if I sew on a Tuesday and I'm done at 4:30 and I can make it to the post office in time, but I instead choose to have them pick them up on a Wednesday, that adds a day onto that ship date. So I want to make sure that I'm getting those packages into the post office as soon as possible so that they can ship as fast as possible. And the second half of this tip is to print a scan form. To be honest, this doesn't make your packages ship any sooner. It's just way easier on your postal workers if you print a scan form. So definitely want to be doing that. I have a YouTube short, which I'll link in the description, or maybe I can link it in the cards. We'll see. about how to print a scan form, but they are very important. The last thing that you can literally do to make your package more likely to arrive in time is to double check all address details. Make sure that you are using the verified addresses. If it's not verified, do a little legwork, either Google the address that they gave you and see if you can't come up with a reason for why it's not verified, or send them a convo, just so that you can make sure you are doing everything in your power to get the package there in time. And also make sure that all of your shipping details are correct. So like box sizes, mailing sizes, weights, all that kind of stuff. You want everything to be absolutely smooth sailing. So make sure that you are checking all those details, just because that makes it way easier for them to scan it in and get it moving to your customer. Okay, so that was like 7 tips, I think, about how to make sure how to handle post office delays. The long story short, the recap of this video is whenever you are handling these situations with your customers, be extremely straightforward. You want to be so straightforward and let them know. You want to be honest. You want to tell them all the information that you have, so they feel like they can trust you, and also that way they do not feel like they are left in the dark. And then they also, on the other end of that, you want to make sure that you are filling out all details, making sure that you are making your package as easy to accept from you. Like USPS takes your package in and just ships it right away. That's what you want to be making sure. So just make sure you are straightforward and you are diligently filling out all shipping details, and you should have no issues this holiday season with post office delays. All that being said, shipping and Etsy, growth on Etsy, all those sorts of things are things we talk about all the time on this channel. And so if that is what you're interested in, I would love it if you subscribed. Make sure to subscribe to also check out that video that I talked about where we will be choosing deadlines for my shop, and I will be showing you how we do that. So yes, make sure to subscribe if that's what you're interested in, and thank you so much for watching.